that. Our next guest actually is talking about being on trend. Ben Chodor, who is the head of global video strategy for INXPO. Welcome.
Hello, how are you?
Good, it's good to see you.
Nice to see you.
So I know really the thought leadership that INXPO provides in our space is so crucial to everything that we're doing here. And INXPO is actually the platform that's powering Convening Leaders Live this year. So you'll see having the opportunity to be within this environment gives you such a great taste of what INXPO's platform is all about. As we mentioned at the top of our show, Convening Leaders theme this year for 2018 is amplifying engagement. So no one better to talk to that than you. Let's talk a little bit about, from INXPO's standpoint, what are some of the things that you're seeing your clients using that are really increasing engagement in the digital event space?
So it's not, for the first time, about just taking content that's happening at the event and broadcasting it out. It's how do I get my virtual audience engaged?
Absolutely.
How do I get them involved? And it used to be, okay, let them type in a few questions, maybe that gets them a little involved. But now it's like, how do I physically, virtually bring them into the event? And with today's technology, for the first time, I have the ability to be doing a physical event, but also bring in presenters or even audience members from anywhere in the world and bring their video into it. Make them feel like they're part of the program. And that's really the key. It's not just about watching the content, it's about how do I actually immerse myself in the content and be part of it as well, so I feel like I'm at the conference.
So what does that really look like? Let's break that down a little bit more.
All right, so it can mean a couple of things. One, it can mean we now finally have the ability to take a piece of content that we're broadcasting out, enable our audience to engage, and if they raise their hand for a question, actually bring their video up, like a CNN-style interview, like we're doing today, but me in another location. You're satelliting me in, but we're not doing the cost of satellite. We're using either webcam or prosumer cameras, or even sometimes professional cameras, or video conference equipment. Anything that they have at their disposal to get them to engage, but also enables you to bring in some presenters who can't even make it to the conference. Now you can have them from anywhere in the world be part of the conference, which really helps the home audience, but also the physical audience at the event. So it's like, it's game changing.
That's really cool. So I have to ask you this question, and that is really, how do you see then digital events supporting the future of our face-to-face business events?
I actually think we're going to come to a time that it's all, you're not going to be able to tell the difference. All right, a physical event and a virtual event are going to happen at the same time. It's not going to. We all know now it does not cannibalize an event, right? So that's out the window. So now, how do you do an event when the real cost is creating content? How do I do an event and enable an audience anywhere to participate? Whether you're watching on Facebook, whether you're doing on YouTube, whether you're watching the video on Twitter, or whether it's in a gated community, we gotta, they gotta all go together.
And how do you think is the best way to really endeavor into that? I think it's one of the things that we talk about all the time is getting our content to people when and where they need it and getting them the content that they need. So how do you as an organization start with looking at your overall strategy? I always like to say it's almost like a magazine does with their editorial calendar, right? So it's like, how do we look at that from a more strategic perspective?
Well, the first thing is you got to figure out what the organization's goal out of the program is. Is it purely education? Is it purely promotional? Is it marketing? Do I want to click through? Do I want someone to purchase? Do I want them just to be educated? Do I want them to feel involved? So once you first figure out what you want, what do you want to deliver to your audience, and how do you want them to receive the content, then we come into the picture and go, okay, what's the best way? And a hybrid event or a face-to-face event there could be a physical event going on here like we're doing right now. There could be people watching at home or watching on their device, but there could also be viewing events in restaurants or other hotels across the country where there's speakers. So how do I take a physical event and also enable other physical events and virtual events going on? It's not just one size fits all. And if you think you're just going to take your content, turn on a camera, and broadcast it out, and your audience is going to love it, you're totally wrong. Those days are over.
Absolutely. And I think that's such a key point because I feel like it is that this evolution is not just you need to be in digital events to be in digital events. It's like how our meeting genesis began in the first place, right? Meetings, whether they're face-to-face or whether they're virtual, are that delivery vehicle. And we have to think with strategy first. Super quick, give me a 5-second answer. What do you think, if you had to say, are the top 3 industry trends for this year, what do you think are the things we should really be paying attention
All
to?
right, I'll give you my order. 1, interaction in events, like I said in the beginning. Social streaming. You better be streaming into Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and you better be taking small pieces of your live event and doing that throughout. So little snapshots of each of your content sending out. And the third is OTT over the next 12 months to 18 months is going to be everywhere. This event would be broadcast on Apple TVs, Roku's, any smart TV. That's the future. And
Game
it's now
changing.
game changing.
So cool.
Over.
Thank you. Really appreciate it. A pleasure.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Amanda.
Ben.
Nice to meet you.
Same.